Okay, so everyone is able to see the screen now?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, so I will call out name one by one, and that Vaishnava or Vaishnavi can read that Guru Pranama or the particular shloka. Okay. Okay. ॐ अज्ञानं तिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरु वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजाता सगणा रघुनाथं त्वं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदा सगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Okay, so can I request to start with Shreya? Shreya, Hare Krishna. Can you start with first pranam? Guru Pranama.
Yes, Mataji. Wait, from Om Ajnanatirandasya.
Okay, so do you see my screen?
Yes, Mataji.
So first Sri Guru Pranama Om Ajnanam. Yes, correct.
Om Ajnanatirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurube Namaha.
Okay, Radha, can you say Sri Guru Pranama? Okay. Now Nashita, can you read Mangala Charan?
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapa Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vistamcha Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri
Vishankhamscha. Okay. Shri Ram, can you read Shri Prabhupada Pranati?
Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravari Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashrata Desakarine.
Sai Krish, can you read Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Pranati.
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati iti namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daitaya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Bhrave Namaha Madhuri Ujjvala Premadya Shri Rupa Nuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostate Namaste Gauravani Shri Murte Dinatarine. I'm not able to see the button.
Yeah, 1 minute. Okay. Now can you see?
Yeah, you can see.
Okay.
Namaste Gauravani Shri Murte Dinatarine Rupanoga Viruddhapa Siddhanta Dvantaharine.
Udit, can you read Srila Gaur Krishna Pranati?
Yes, Mataji. Namo Gora Kishoraya Sakshar Viragya Murtaye Vipraramba Rasambodhya Pada Mubujaya Tanamine.
Okay. Rishi, can you read Srila Bhakti Vedanta Pranati? Bhakti Vinoda Pranati?
Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Ghora Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate.
Sonika, can you read Srila Jagannath Pranati?
Yeah, I can try. Gaura Vibrava Bhumastvam Nirdishta Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Sarva Pamu Shri Jagannathaya Te Namah.
Gaur Hari, can you read Srila Vaishnava Pranama?
Vanchakalpatarabhyascha kripasindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
Sham, can you read Sri Gauranga Pranama?
Yes, Mataji. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayite Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvase Namaha.
Okay, Niksha, can you read the where we were? 1 minute. Okay, can you read the Sri Krishna Pranama? Or Panchatattva Pranama, I think.
Panchatattvam Krishna Bhaktaruta Sada Swarupakam Bhaktavatram Bhaktayaham Namami Bhakta Sattikam.
Okay. Tanvi, can you read Sri Krishna Pranama?
Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Gopisha Gopika Radha Kanta Namostate.
Okay. Monica, can you read Sambandha Deva Pranama?
Papangir Mama Matagati Matsarvasya Pravoho Radhamaduna Mono.
Okay. Meghna, can you read Abhideya Deva Pranama? I think Meghna, you are on mute. Can you unmute?
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Divyadvrindaranya kalpadrumadhas Srimad Ratnagara Simhasanastav Srimad Radha Sira Govinda Devo Prestalipi Sevimano Smarami.
Good. Archita, can you read Prayojan Deva Pranama?
Shrimanasarasaram Vamsavata Karmenu Svarnar Gopir Gopinachistu.
Okay. Suhul, can you read Sri Radha Pranama?
Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavayeshwari Vrishabhanustuti Devi Pranamami Haripriya.
Okay. Tarun, can you read Panchtattva Mahapranama? Mahamantra?
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Okay. Now all of you raise your hands and we'll say all together. Okay. Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Welcome to all of you. How are you all?
Good Mataji.
Good Mataji.
After a long time we are meeting, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So I believe all are present now. So just quickly I will take the attendance. I will take the screenshot for the attendance and then we will start the class. Okay. Just give me a minute. Okay. Now we can start today's class. Okay. Do anybody know that what is the title of this topic today, which we are going to discuss now? Anyone is aware?
Prakruti and Gunas.
Very good. Who said that? Aradhya, correct?
Yeah, I saw from the title, Mataji.
Okay, good. So, do you want to comment anything about what you know about Prakruti or Gunas, or anyone else can? Whoever is interested, they can raise their hands and explain.
I thought Prakriti was nature, maybe, and Gunas is like good or bad characteristics of yourself.
Yeah,
So,
very good. Go ahead.
and the Prakriti, I'm pretty sure it's like the material nature. The Gunas are like there are three modes of material nature. So goodness, passion, and ignorance.
Yes, very good. Who else can explain something about Prakriti and Gunas? Shreya, you want to say something? Nashita, Tanvi? Okay, so we'll go ahead with today's presentation. So today we will be covering Bhagavad Gita verses from 9th chapter and 7th chapter. So some typical verses I have chosen so that we can just first today elaborate in detail about Prakriti. So if we say Prakriti, anybody knows if there are any types of Prakriti or if there are any, like, have you any time heard the term about Purusha and Prakriti or only Prakriti?
So the Purusha is like the soul, and then the Prakriti is like the nature of it, or something. Purusha is the soul.
Correct. Yeah, so today first we will talk about two terms. First is Purusha and another is Prakriti. So if we open this slide, we can see that nature of divine contains two concepts. First is Purusha. And who is Purusha? What do you think?
Purusha can be like the soul or super soul.
Exactly. And if we see in the broader sense, it means that something related to about consciousness, or we can say whatever the term is connected to souls or living entities. And Prakriti, as so many of you described right now, Prakriti is something
Nature.
connected to nature, yes, or material energy, right? So just okay. So if we say divine concept, so divine concept is having two aspects. One is male and another is female aspect. And if we are trying to connect this male and female aspect to these two terms, that is Purusha and Prakriti, then Purusha is the male aspect and Prakriti is a female aspect. So what do you think about, like in our home also, we have two predominating factors, right? Or predominating entities, that is mother and father, correct? Who are the head of the, father is head of the house and mother is serving to all of us, right? Father as well as children. So similarly, if we try to relate this concept to the universe, then in that sense, Purusha is the supreme God, who is the male aspect, and Prakriti is female aspect, which we can correlate to mother, divine mother, we can say. And this Purusha and Prakriti, we as a soul are connected to both of these terms, right? So if we see here, Purusha is who? Who is supreme personality of Godhead, who is real enjoyer, supreme enjoyer. And Prakriti is his expansion, his spiritual energy or material energy in some sense. So this is his energy. So it is part of his expansion. So this part of his expansion is related to material entities. So now if we see that this material energy, or what we can see, the Prakriti is the term which is in connection to soul, that is living entities, and God. So if we see, there are three terms, if we consider three terms, one is God, one is matter, and third is soul, means living entities. And all three things are connected to each other. So if we refer the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, we can see the relationship between these three items. Okay, so today we will be covering couple of verses from 9th chapter, which is under this acronym part A, I, right? Inconceivable relationships. So now exactly what is Purusha and what is Prakriti? So Purusha is source of everything, the supreme independent from whom everything emanates and upon whom everything rests. He is the one, the supreme enjoyer, who expanded himself into many of his ever-increasing spiritual bliss, Ananda, the bliss derived from spiritual loving relations. And Prakriti, it is his energy. It's an expansion of Purusha. Anyone has any question? Okay, so we'll go ahead. So as such, she is dependent on the Purusha, attached to him, rests upon him, and is defined through him in same way that the sun rays are dependent on sun and are defined through it. So in case of if we correlate this to example of sun rays are part of sun, right? But it cannot be independently exist. We have to connect both the terms together in order to get the heat from sun. So she is pleasing and he is the enjoyer. So material Prakriti is pleasing to Lord, and Lord Sri Krishna is the supreme enjoyer who is enjoying the Prakriti. Okay, so she is the secondary enjoyer, finding her pleasure in the pleasure of the Purusha. So by divine nature, Prakriti is to be enjoyed by enjoyer, he who is supreme personality of Godhead, and by pleasing the enjoyer, supreme Lord, she also takes pleasure into that, and she also enjoyed serving Lord. So by divine nature, this is the role of Prakriti, that is nature. So now here we can see that Prakriti is sum total of Lord's energy, which includes the infinite number of spirit souls. So here we can see that spirit soul means who? Us, the living entities, are also part of Prakriti. So by nature, we also all should be serving to Lord, trying to please the Lord. This is our divine role. And through this serving Lord, we also enjoy. But the supreme enjoyer is Lord. So the actual enjoyer in this activity is the Lord's right. Okay. So who understood the concept and who can explain that what he or she understands from this up till now, whatever we learned? Yes, Sai Krish?
So basically, Purusha is the supreme enjoyer, the supreme personality of Godhead, and Prakriti is nature. She's the one who's pleasing the Lord, and we are all part of nature, so we should be serving the Lord. It's like by nature, it's like the default rule.
Correct. Anyone else wants to add anything? Right. So here we understood that what is Prakriti as a concept, that is nature, and what is supreme enjoyer. Now the question is, why Purusha, that is Lord, he expanded his energy? What is the purpose behind that? Anyone knows? Shreya, do you know what is the purpose of creation of Prakriti?
No, Mataji.
No? Okay. Else?
I can. It's in It's just that he is the one, the supreme enjoyer, who expanded himself into many for his ever-increasing spiritual bliss.
Right. So spiritual bliss, if we are talking the term about spiritual bliss, what is exactly that means? So what Lord, Supreme Lord was trying to do is to expand his energy, own energy, so that some kind of jivas or souls are produced, by which he will get the enjoying, pleasing feeling, right? But how? By creating the loving relationship with those souls. So what was his intention by creation of this material energy is that by developing the loving relationship with souls, spirit souls, he can also enjoy. So that was his intention, right? So we can see over here that Prakriti as a material entity, it's just a medium through which spirit souls can serve Lord, and actually both can enjoy, right? But the primary enjoyer is Lord. So for example, if as a mother, I give my child some delicious food, right? I cook some delicious food and I serve to my children. So as children, they take that prasadam, what they will feel? They will feel loving loving feeling, right? They will feel love because that mother has served something to them. So similarly, if we try to use the material entities to serve Supreme Lord, basically we are trying to serve Supreme Lord through material entities by which we are trying to have the material, loving exchange with Lord, right? So this Prakruti is just the medium. That's what we can understand, right? We'll go in depth, but up till now, whatever we understand, we'll try to understand in the perfect relation to the Lord. Because this Prakriti term cannot stand alone. It has to be connected with Jivas so that we can exactly understand the relationship. But in actual sense, what it happens? In reality, we use this material energy, Prakriti, for our self-enjoyment, right? Most of the cases, what we try to do, we try to utilize this medium to just satisfy our senses, to have the sense enjoyment away from Krishna, right? So that is the way we are acting selfishly in one sense. We are not trying to serve Lord always. So if we are doing some kirtan or if we are chanting the mantra, so that is the way we are trying to serve. We are trying to use our senses. We are trying to use our abilities to speak, to think for enjoyment of Krishna. So this difference can we understand that material energy, same material energy we can use to please the Lord, or also we can use to serve ourselves, to enjoy ourselves, right? So what do you think, guys? Which is the actual our role as a divine point, as a spiritual point?
Well, it's our rule to serve Krishna.
Yes. So in reality, whatever is happening, that is not the way Krishna wants us to do, right? Krishna expects us to serve him. That's why he has created this energy and spiritual souls. So now we will go ahead and see other aspects. So here, if we refer Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 7, which says, Sarvabhutani Kaunteya Prakrutim Yanti Mamikam Kalpakasya Punastani Kalpadau Vishrajami Aham. So, O son of Kunti, at the end of the millennium, all material manifestations enter into my nature. And at the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I create them again. So, what is the takeaway from here? That this material energy is being created and destroyed again and again as the millennium ends and as the another millennium starts. So this process is going on continuously, right? Next verse we'll see. Similarly, in 9.8, it says, Prakrutim swam avasthabhya vishrajami puna puna bhuta gramam imam krishnam avasam prakritir vasat. So the whole cosmic order is under me. Under my will, it is automatically manifested again and again. Under my will, it is annihilated at the end. So the key point from these two verses, we can understand that this Prakriti nature, which is regenerated again and again, as per the millennium starts and as per the millennium ends, it is annihilated also by Krishna's will. So this is ultimately under Krishna, supreme enjoyer, right? So this fact, if we consider, we should understand that this is the fact that Krishna is the supreme controller. So we should follow our duty, which is spiritually we are meant for, right? So our spiritual duty, we should never forget. We should also carry out, because in second chapter we saw that there are two duties, Swadharma and Parodharma. So Swadharma is we have to carry out our own daily routine life tasks, right? We cannot just sit in one place and we cannot chant Maha Mantra the whole day, as far as we are still a conditioned soul. Whoever is beyond condition soul, like they are already purified, their consciousness is pure, then you can just sit at one place and chant. But unless and until we are not pure, we are in the purification process. Till that time, we have to carry out our own duties, right? So Parodharma means spiritual duties. So because of these two verses, it's clearly mentioned that everything, the whole cosmic creation and annihilation is under Krishna's will, is under his control. So we should also carry out our spiritual duties, for which our creation is done by Lord, right? To serve him and give him pleasure. So up till now, are we clear?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone has any question or any like concept, any type of word or any verses, whatever we saw, not understood clearly? Any comments on the Prakriti and enjoyer? Okay, we'll go ahead. So basically, if we see Prakriti word, what it is made up of? It's having two terms. In Sanskrit, we say pra and kriti. Okay. So if we go back here in the first slide. So Prakriti is made up of two terms, which means pra means it's a in beginning, at the commencement, and kriti means creation, work or composition, which just now we saw in 9.8 and 9.7 and 9.8, right? So Prakriti is literally means original and natural, and it denotes the state of conditions at beginning of creation or natural state of existence as it was at the beginning of creation. So now we will see two more types of Prakrutis by which we can learn something more about Prakriti. So we understood the two terms, that is Purusha and Prakriti. Now we will see more about Prakriti. What are the types of Prakriti? Anyone can tell that what are the types of Prakriti, or what are the elements which we can consider that these are material energies? Yes, Saikvish?
So like the three gunas, three modes of material nature.
That is one aspect, but first we want to try something. We are trying to learn something more about Prakriti as the term itself. Have you anytime heard the two terms, that is para and apara, related to Prakriti?
No much.
No. Okay. So now we will see the next concept. Okay. So if we say Prakriti, it has two types. One says para which means primary, and superior we can say. And second term is apara, which is lower or inferior. So now what is the exactly mean by superior energy? So superior energy is the internal energy. That means living entities, which are actually part and parcel of Lord itself. And second is inferior to that, which is lower than that superior energy, which is called apara. So apara is the inferior energy, which we also can refer to external energy, and which we can actually say by the eightfold elements, that is earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego. So out of these 8 items, 8 elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, these constitute all chemical elements as well as physical elements. And these are gross elements, which we can see with the eyes. And 3 terms, which are mind, intelligence, and ego, these are subtle elements, which are not visible by eyes, but still it exists and it matters a lot. It plays an important role as a Prakruti. Okay, so living entities are the souls, spirit souls, which includes ourselves, right? So we are a part of superior energy as well as inferior energy. Who can elaborate this statement? Yes, Saikrish.
So the soul is like the superior energy, internal energy, and our body is made out of like the 5 elements, 5 gross elements. So technically we're both, since we're in this body and we're still souls, we're technically part of both energies.
Yes, exactly. So here we can take our example of our own, and we can understand that these both kind of energies, we are made up of, body is made up of these both kind of energies. So super soul is also a part of our body, right? And spirit soul. So super soul and spirit soul both are inside our body. So those are internal energies. But the body, which we can see with the gross elements, which are gross elements, which we can see with eyes, these are the part of inferior energy that we can see it externally, right? And mind, intelligence, ego, which are already also part of our own body, that also plays some role in the material energy, right? So now when we will start talking about gunas, we can understand that this mind, intelligence, and ego, these 3 terms contributes on a vast basis for the 3 gunas to appear, which explained by Saikrish as mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. But we are not going to touch that topic today. We are first trying to understand the Prakriti itself in detail today, so that we are thorough with that concept. And I want to correlate that Prakriti to gunas in the next session. So today we are just concentrating on Prakriti. So we understood that there are 2 types of energies, which are a part of, which we can divide the Prakriti in 2 parts. So these terms are explained in Bhagavad Gita chapter 7 in verse 4, 5th, and 6th. So if we try to study these 3 verses in detail, we will understand this concept exactly what is told by Krishna. So in 7.4 verse, it says, Bhumirapo analo vayu kammano buddhirevacha ahankara iti mame binna prakrutirastada. So earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, all together, these 8 constitute my separated material energies. And in next verse in 7.5, he says, Apareyam itastvam anyam prakritim vidi me param jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat. Besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. So here Krishna declares that this inferior energy, which is these eightfold items, which living entity utilizes this to exploit the resources of this material, right? So we all use these all parts of material energy in some and other way, either for our own sense gratification or either in or in Krishna's service. So both way we are trying to use, right? Depending upon the gunas that we will see later on. Then in next verse, sixth verse, it says, Etadhyonini bhutani sarvani upadharya aham krishnasya jagata prabhava pralayastata. All created beings have their source in two natures, of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world. Know for certain that I am both the origin and dissolution. So here Krishna also declares that this material creation, without this material energy, without he activates this material energy, it cannot work on its own. So what it means that this material energy, due to this energy that the entire material world functions, the cosmic manifestation has no power to act unless it is moved by superior energy or the living entity. So what exactly it means? That if, for example, we are growing crops, right? We are trying to grow crops. And then we are taking those crops out. We are some process we have to carry out. Then that food gets packing, and that packed food we are trying to utilize, right? So we have to do some changes, or we have to carry out some secondary level functions on those crops, right? Then only we are able to utilize to consume that food. So that way it is mentioned that these kinds of material energy has to be worked by living entities, and then that form he can utilize it. So in that way, if we see water, earth, fire, air, ether, all these are non-living things, right? But if those are used by living entity, then it can be used for its purpose, right? So that's what this verse means. And what you understand from here is that Krishna is telling himself, he is declaring himself that he is origin of both, and he can also dissolve it, right? So annihilation and creation both are under his control, and it happens according to his will, as per his will. That is the important criteria we should know. So today we saw three terms, that is matter, which we can call it Prakruti, which are having two types, para and apara. Then another aspect is soul, which we all are made up of living entities, that is spirit soul. And the third main part is of this cosmic universe is God, which is super soul, right? So these three terms are clear to everyone with respect to the relationship to each other.
Yes.
Are you understanding what we discussed today?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Good. So I wanted you all to thorough with this concept, so that if we are able to grasp these points, then we can go ahead and understand the gunas, and gunas, how it is binding the ropes, right? We are going to through, we will see that we are getting binded by these ropes as gunas, right? So now what we learned today, I want to summarize quickly. So we mainly understood 5 points. So first point is, whatever is conscious, it belongs to Purush, and that is not Prakriti. So whatever is related to consciousness term, whether it may be soul or super soul, it is connected to Purusha. So Purusha is used also, this is the term which is also used for the God or us also, living entity, but we are secondary Purusha, not primary Purusha. Primary Purusha is Lord himself, that is Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. So Prakruti, whatever we see in Prakruti, in short, it's a non-living items. It's a non-conscious elements, right? Second point, we understood that Prakriti is a feminine in nature, and it is what all matter, while Purusha is masculine term, right? Because already Krishna, we know that he says that Aham Sarva Bija Prajapita. So he is the seed giving father to everyone, and Prakriti is a nature. So whenever Krishna glances his vision to Prakriti, it impregnates seed as a living entity in mother's womb, right? So this is the way that with this Prakriti, living entities start taking their part in this living world. So we say in material term, the baby is born, right? So this is the easy way to understand for us that how creation takes place. Not creation, but how the material soul takes birth on this earth again and again, right? So it just observes, and this is what we call spirit. Third point we learned is that Prakriti is a mother nature, which is divided into 8 categories. That is 5 gross elements and 3 subtle elements. So this is inferior type of Prakriti, which is we can consider it a lower part, lower form of Prakriti. And fourth point we discussed is that different from above is higher than Prakriti, higher Prakriti type is form of individual soul, that is Jiva, which are having some consciousness, which are living entities. Okay, we learned this in Bhagavad Gita verse 7.5 already. And fifth point we learned is that Prakriti or material nature is just the agency, right? It's just the medium through which this material world is made functional. So in order to provide Jivas, living entities, all facilities, the Lord has created this material world. So we know that whoever is present right now on earth, why we are present, we saw in last sessions when we were studying about Atman, that souls, when they wanted to enjoy apart from Lord Krishna, they were sent on earth to enjoy separately. But that time what was happening? There was some covering on that soul, right? Which we call it as conditioned soul. So that is the term where new concept comes as Maya. So Maya is acting, which is in form of Durga Devi, and which tries to always take us away from Krishna. So in that case, we try to enjoy with all these mediums provided in Prakriti to enjoy for ourselves. And that is where Guna starts coming into picture, right? So I'm just giving you heads up what we are trying to discuss in next sessions. So if you are thorough with this Prakriti concept, we can understand the term gunas which we will study later in next sessions, and we can understand how this Prakriti and Gunas are correlated. So with this discussion, can anyone understand that what may be the Guna exactly in relation to the Prakriti?
Maybe the guna might be like it depends on how you act using the medium of material nature. Maybe that.
Yes, correct. So we will study in next coming sessions that how these gunas take part in Prakriti and act upon the living entity as per the nature. So if mode of goodness is there, particular type of nature will be prominent, and that kind of effect it will have on that living entity. Similarly, Rajas and Tamas gunas, they have their own effect on living entity with respect to this material nature, Prakriti. Right, so whatever we understood today, anyone has any comment or any question, we can discuss right now on any questions. I think we have 2 more minutes left. I believe you guys are with me, whatever we just now discussed.
Yeah, yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
So we are good with this Prakriti concept, and are we ready to learn something about gunas next time?
Yeah, yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Good. So if
Yes,
you get
Mataji.
very good. So I will suggest or I will request you everyone, if you get a chance, you can learn something more in depth by reading chapter 9 and 7. Most probably like this Prakriti concept is more elaborated in chapter 7, which we just now studied the verse 4, 5th and 6th, right? So if every one of you can at least read the purport pertaining to these verses 9.7, 9.8, 7.4, 5 and 6, you will try to summarize yourself in your own terms what we discussed today, right? And you can correlate with the purport whatever is given by Srila Prabhupada, that exactly how this material energy concept is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so if whenever you get time, I think it's a good chance that these are only 5 verses and we also have 5 working days in week. So at least one verse, if you read with purport, you will get a good idea, right? So that whenever we meet here next time, we will have some solid concept with these material energy, that is Prakriti. Is that okay? Everyone will read and understand in details?
Yeah, yes, Mataji.
Good. So if you read and understand in details, what do you think? What we will be doing? Sorry, go ahead.
We can discuss in depth about.
Yes, so if we read this in depth, we will try to use the material nature, which is Prakriti, to please Lord Krishna, because Krishna is happy always if we are trying to gain knowledge about him, right? So this is a part of his energy. So if we are trying to understand something about energy, we are trying to utilize this material nature, part of material nature, for his pleasure, which we are meant for actually, right? In reality. So are we good with today's discussion? Will you please everyone read this one verse every day for Krishna's pleasure?
Yes, Mataji.
Good. So we will end this session today. I think we are done with the time. Hare Krishna. Have a good weekend today's day and enjoy 2 more weeks, and then we will meet again on after 2 weeks. Okay, after 2 weeks, this next Sunday will be the cooking class, and next to that Sunday we will meet again and we will start discussing on gunas. Are you guys ready to understand the gunas next time?
Yes, Mataji. Yes.
Okay. Thank you everyone. Very much grateful.
Hare
For
Krishna
Mataji.
service.
Hare Krishna.
वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you everyone.